Good morning, everybody. It's Victory Monday, and guess what? We got Lions Talk Live coming at you early in the morning on the morning show, and I'm hoping everybody is having a great start to their day. You know, the world just seems so much better when you have the Lions with a win coming in, looking for another big game this upcoming weekend against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So before we get going on the show, as you all probably know, I've got some bills to pay and all that type of stuff. So if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, why not? Maybe you'll consider doing so today. We'd really like to try to get the channel up to 3,600 subscribers, say by kickoff against Tampa Bay. Also, if you haven't yet known, or if you yet didn't know, I am a realtor. At least that's one of my jobs, and I'm something I've done for over 30 years. If you're considering buying or selling property in the state of Michigan, maybe give me a call or shoot me a text. If you can do that, hey, let me work with you, see if we can save you money on the purchase of your property or save you money on the sale of your property. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Now, let's get on that show and don't be afraid to hit that like button. All right, getting into Lions Talk Live, we got some comments already in the chat. JP, feels so good. Yes, it does. Victory Monday from Kevin. We got welcome. Welcome to Blue Kool-Aid Monday. There you go. I like that. AC4, Victory Monday. Absolutely. Thomas, Levi, great win yesterday. Good morning. Pierce, hey, it's been a couple days since I've seen you, man. Good to see you. I will be at Tampa Bay, so pumped, and you should be, because that's going to be a big game. Make no mistake about it. Vegas is already putting out odds, and it more or less seems, and I'm not a huge gambling person, so if I'm wrong about the numbers that Vegas is putting out, don't be afraid to let me know. But it sounds like they more or less consider it an even match on the road for the Lions against the Bucs. Don Burr, Tampa Bay game will tell a lot, man. I hope Branch is back because Will Harris is walking completion. There you go. Lions fan, any news on those DTs? It was eerily silent last night. Not a whole lot of new news, at least that I've gotten so far last night or today. Obviously, with it being Monday, maybe some things change more around noon. But I do believe the closer we get to the trade deadline, and let's be real upfront and honest here, the Lions go 2-1 in these next three games. I mean, they're in the thick of the things probably for the rest of the season as far as the NFC, let alone the NFC North. So it would seem to me, if we're going to make a move to acquire somebody, that's probably the ideal time. You're more or less halfway through your season, give or take a game or so. And if you're going to make a move and you want to stay in contention and then push for seeding in the NFC overall, something we'll talk about today, when are you going to do it? Are you going to do it at that point or never? All right, Lee, what's going on? Let's go. Yeah, I agree. Anthony, good morning to you as well. Pierce, when will we get the update on Mosley goes back on the IR? It's one of the things I had set up for today. Let's see if I pull it up here. And I'll just say this, nothing's official yet. The MRI and the results won't be until later today, but early reports, whispers out of Detroit, is he may have messed up his other knee. Well, obviously everybody hopes that's not the case. I mean, just what a bad string of luck that would be for the kid. But it does sound like, if he's not done for the season, he may be out for a while. So as you're already seeing on the screen, do we need to address the cornerback room now? Jerry Jacobs, say what you want about the kid. Yes, he's been targeted a ton early in the season. Yes, I mean, he didn't have bad games, but he did get lit up against Seattle. I think we're all aware of that. But now we can also say this, 2 straight games, this guy's a pick machine. A lot of that's being the right place, the wrong right time. We do know, as you guys heard me talk about yesterday, I was calling that pick out before it even left Young's hands because you could see him staring down the receiver. And he was Young, that is, was so oblivious to Jacobs even being there in the underneath route that, he just had no idea he was there, and it was going to be an easy pick. All right, so I guess that's my question for you guys. Does cornerback now become an area of targeted need for the Detroit Lions? I'm starting to think, yes, if Mosley indeed is out for a significant amount of time, it's just me, but I'd be looking to add some beef to that secondary. The only thing is, obviously, corners don't grow on trees, especially ones you're going to want. What are you going to be willing to give up to in order to get them? So we'll see what happens there. But I think all eyes, as far as the Lions coaching staff on defense, are turned to Mosley. And how long is he going to be gone? Robert, Lions shined. Yes, they did. Brandon, morning. Morning to you too. Jay Mommy, actually, great weekend for football. I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, it was, I think, the best days for the Detroit Lions as far as this season are still to come. I mean, let's be fair. Other than Mosley, and, again, it looks like he might be out for a while, but there are really no huge injury updates, it looks like. Jonah Jackson did leave in a walking boot yesterday from Ford Field. That is confirmed. But let's also keep in mind a walking boot sometimes is precautionary. It doesn't mean there's a significant injury. With that being also said, if he can't play against Tampa Bay, the good part is Big V was almost cleared to play yesterday. If he's almost cleared to play yesterday, my anticipation is he's playing against the Bucs, and then Glasgow would fill in for Jackson if Jackson couldn't go. But the Lions are getting, it seems, fairly healthy. Gibbs should be back. St. Brown should be back. The Lions should be as close to full strength as probably you're going to see the rest of the season when we make the trip to Tampa Bay. So I think the Lions got a pretty good shot to win that game. And if we win that game, I would say that the Ravens are a favorable matchup for Detroit, unless something really changes in 2 weeks. But before we get worried about the Ravens, I obviously got to be focused on Tampa Bay. All right, Michael, what do you got? Now that Dallas got their wake-up call, it's up to the Lions to be in the top 3 of the NFC. Philly got lucky, and they didn't stumble. Michael, I think you got a real good point there, and you guys let me know your thoughts. But watching Philadelphia, it seems like the last 2 or 3 weeks, they're not the dominant team they were a year ago, and there could be a lot of reasons for that. You got new OC in DC, some personnel, subtle changes, but you do have some personnel changes, law of averages, whatever it is. But Philadelphia is undefeated. They are winning a lot of close games, and I was really surprised with how much they struggled against the Rams. But that being said, the Rams are probably better than most people thought they would be this year. All right, JP, feels good for the Lions to get a win, a game they should win by a blowout. Yeah, and if you guys remember, I put on the title for one of the videos last week that I thought they needed to come out and dominate, and they did. But I thought they needed to do that to be able to show and prove to themselves maybe even a little bit that, yeah, we are a legit powerhouse in the NFL, not alone just the NFC North or the NFC. Games of inches. Everybody knows it. Anybody can win any given Sunday. The Lions, though, they kept accumulating, more and more errors by Carolina and turning those into victories or positives for the Lions. And that's what good teams do. Say what you want about this team, that team, or anything. You want to look up and see if your team's dominant. You put on a show like they did yesterday. That means you're doing a lot of things right. I get the Lions gave up a couple points late in the game, but let's also be honest. They were playing soft zone coverage, forcing everything out in front of them. They didn't want to risk giving up any deep shots, anything that Carolina could get a lot of yards quickly to preserve clock. Just they did the right thing. Yeah, we're going to give you some stuff here, but you're going to have to keep burning that clock. All right, John, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Congrats on 35K. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Like I said, it's a heck of an accomplishment. Really like to see if we can get it to 36 by kickoff next Sunday. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Anthony, what do we got here? Would like a shout out to Demo, his selflessness, waving Raymond. Yeah, I would say, yeah, I talked about that a little bit yesterday in the post-game show, and talk about being a good teammate, talking about helping to build the culture of the team. You got an opportunity where most people, I get Craig Reynolds, to your point, he's tired. He just had that big run, about ready to come out. Montgomery's telling him, nah, stay in, get that touchdown. He doesn't want it. He's telling him, hey, go for it, man. You deserve it. And he got it. So that was a good moment, and that permeates throughout a locker room and just how everybody plays and performs. I hope the Lions keeps that going. Good call on that, Anthony. All right, what do we got? Joe's on that win, numerous injuries with next man up mentality, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you had injuries across the board. Other people got opportunities. Something, you guys and I talked about last week. Somebody's out. Somebody else gets an opportunity to shine. And Laporta, let's bring him up right now. How good is this guy already, not even halfway through his rookie season? I mean, man, this kid could end up being a monster in years to come and maybe one of the greater Lions tight ends ever. And that's saying something because the Lions have had a history, maybe not recently, but a history throughout their franchise of having great tight end play. And this guy might be the one of the better ones of them. So good point there. And not just him, but you guys get the point. Lee, what do we got? What's the latest on Gibbs? From what I'm hearing, the injury is not huge. It's more preventative in nature, probably sort of like St. Brown and other players. Could he have played yesterday? Yes. Did they want to keep him out so they'd have him better prepared and healthy for the Tampa Bay game? I think that's probably more what happened there. What can we expect with him and J-Mo together? I think we're going to see a lot of stuff. I do believe the Lions have probably got some packages, sort of like the flea flicker and a couple other of the trick plays they've done this season, where I believe they've already got some stuff lined up where we could potentially see packages with Gibbs, J-Mo, Khalif Raymond all at the same time. That's a lot of speed out there. And if you run a double reverse or triple reverse, boy, those guys are going to be able to cover some ground. Of course, the other part of that is if you're that fast and you keep reversing it, all those people you left in the dust, they're still there. So we'll see what they come up with. Devin, what do you got? When is the next time you're going to be on Micro Mics? We just kind of all work together, Devin. He sometimes needs somebody to hop in. He'll send out a message. There's a group message system that a lot of us Lions content creators use, at least part of the Lions Nation Unite, and everybody hops in where they can. The tough part is, people are trying to like him yesterday. He came on our show or my show. Very thankful for that, but he's also got to get ready to run his show. So that sometimes becomes what happens there. So could be Tuesday or Thursday would be my best guess. So, all right, Pierce, the wild card would be Branch. Yeah, and I think the defense is, and you guys probably already know this, but our defense is significantly better when he's out there because and just all the things he can do. I mean, he is a safety, a corner, a weak side backer, and he plays ferociously. I mean, he puts his body in the line and into other players on the other team quite often. I mean, I'm guessing he'll be playing against Tampa Bay, and yeah, he'll definitely take the defense up to yet another level. J-Mo didn't have some really good blocks. He did. Good to see Jones hold on to the ball. Hopefully he can turn the corner. I agree, and my anticipation is from probably here on out the rest of the season, Marvin Jones is probably going to be more or less a role provider off the bench. He'll get his snaps here and there, but he's probably not going to be one of the primary receivers. Jameson Williams, obviously had the drop yesterday. There was another one that came his way that was a misfire, just a little bit off. But, hey, opening day game for him, a lot of workup, nerves, etc. I'm going to guess he's going to get through that and be okay. I was really impressive, like you bring up, J-Mommy, about his run blocking. And I think, he's going to be okay given time. That wide receiver room, everybody from St. Brown to Marvin Jones, they're going to be working with him because they know his potential. All right, Anthony, as was stated before, you'd get the demo, behind a great O-line, you're going to see major production. Yeah, I mean, kid run hard. He runs hard. He runs through things. He's a great teammate. He's got good hands. One thing I probably didn't give him enough credit before he arrived in Detroit is the kid can catch. I mean, he has soft hands. The ball gets to him. It's not leaving. And some of his vision, I'm not going to say he's Barry Sanders, whatever, but when he hit that outside run early in the game where he bounced off some of the linemen and went outside, I mean, that's something not every NFL running back can do. They just don't see it. And that's one of those things you've got to see it and your body's got to react before it even happens. So give him credit. I mean, the Lions may have gotten a real steal in free agency there. But again, that would be consistent with what we know of Brad Holmes. He finds value in a lot of different spots, whether it's the draft, free agency, that other people missed. So good point there. Kevin, I think I would go with 49ers number 1, Philly number 2, Lions number 3. That's kind of where I'm at today. I mean, I think Philadelphia is gettable. And I think unless they really start turning on the Jets, somebody's going to get them. And could it be Dallas? I mean, they still got to play Dallas twice. Commanders, I mean, the rest of their division, I'm not sure has the ability to beat them, but they do play a pretty decent schedule. At some point, they're going to drop a game or two. If the Lions can, keep winning, obviously that puts them in a position where perhaps the Lions can move into the number 2 seed. And that, to me, that's our best case scenario. If we can be number 2 and 49ers number 1, when we get to the playoffs, we don't see them until obviously the NFC Championship game, more than likely. All right, keeping on going down the list here. Derwin, oh my God, I got played yesterday, bought a ticket, third row off Game Time, and the guy would not transfer the ticket so I had to go get a refund. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, buying tickets online can be a dicey proposition. Don Burr, Stephen Gilmore deserved a shot. Kid has mad potential. Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised they haven't brought him up, but maybe, like I think you're pointing out here, Don, with Emmanuel Mosley's injury, this might be the opportunity he gets. We'll see what they do. I mean, the coaches get to see the players a lot more than you and I do, so we'll see what happens. No deep shots for JMO, yeah, but obviously I think we're all probably aware when that is going to change over time. Pierce, hoping Branch comes back this week. Gonna need help on Goodwin for sure. Yeah, and I do believe, Pierce, that he'll be back this weekend. I think if we had to win yesterday, it was like a big game, he probably would have been out there. Ryan, how about them blocks from JMO? Yeah, 100%. Say what you want about the guy, but he did what he needed to do yesterday. He had the drop, I get it, but let's see what happens week 2 and 3. I think I talked about it yesterday. He was here yesterday. After Tampa Bay, is he slightly above that? And then in Ravens, slightly above that. If he does that, he's going in the right direction. Anyone see Taylor Deckard's post-game emotional comments? So glad he's here to enjoy this ride. Yeah, he's been through it. There's not a whole lot of Lions left from the Bob Quinn regime, but there are some, and he's one of them. And yeah, he's seen the days, the dark times in the Lions history. You got to feel good for him and the other few remaining players that have gone through that and are where they are now. I mean, that's got to be good for all of them. Devin, Branch was our steal of the draft for sure. Yeah, without question, that kid is rare. Birds, good morning, happy Monday, first place, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, the Lions are first place in the NFC North, and at least by my math, it looks like they're number 3 in the NFC overall. And there's a real good shot if they get a couple more wins going into the bye, they're going to move up from number 3 to number 2 in the NFC. And maybe somebody beats the 49ers, maybe they stumble somewhere, but we'll just deal with one game at a time, I guess. All right, Don Burr, I'm not worried about JMO, coach. It's like when you're first started in real estate. Did you come right out selling 4 houses a day? Probably not. It takes time. Yeah, straight point there. Yeah, any profession, it takes time. There's very, very few Sam Laportas out there or Brian Branches that are just hammering it home from the first time they step on the field. Most do take time. Talking about the wide receiver room, I mean, I'm old enough to be able to remember, some of the Brett Perriman coming here, although he'd already played a few years, but Johnny Morton, Herman Moore, Calvin Johnson, some of the real greats that we've had. They didn't come out and just, were all world players from the moment they touched the field. It took time. I remember Herman Moore's rookie season was not great by any means. It was okay, but it wasn't great. He had to take a few seasons to elevate up to the standings. But when he did, he became great. Same with Calvin, same with Johnny Morton, same with Robert Clark, a bunch of guys. But you guys get the point. Yeah, good point there, Don. Jay Mommy, I forgot who said it, but on a podcast, he believed that the Lions can line up against any team. Look at how they're constructed. We can run the ball. We can stop the run. So right there, you're in rare air. I mean, you can impose your will on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We're going to go at you, and we're going to stop you from going anywhere. That makes teams, if you can do that, that really limits what the other team can do on the other side of the ball. And I do believe it's a type of style that works in cold weather, domes, whatever it may be. That's a big, plus for Lions. The one thing I will say, not trying to put any kind of rain on our parade, but the one thing I did notice yesterday, in Carolina does have some real nice defensive players that can get to the quarterback, but our offensive tackles there got beat a little bit more than I anticipated they would yesterday. Goff took some hits, and give him credit. He took some legit hits and stood in there to complete passes. So That's something I believe going forward they're going to have to address, especially when they face somebody in the future like a Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, and 49ers, teams that don't have to blitz to get to the quarterback. I think that's something that we're going to have to shore up a little bit. All right. Hey, man, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but the way it looked and how he reacted looks like the worst case scenario. Really sad. Yeah. Assuming you're talking about Mosley, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. All right, Anthony, what do we got? I believe Dallas isn't as good as people think. I think defensively they're pretty decent. Offensively, I think they do have some holes, so agreed. JP, 49ers are scary good. Yeah, they're deep everywhere. They aren't. They are definitely number one. Philly is strong and deserves number two. The Lions and Seahawks are both very good and tied for third. I can go with that. One Funky, how you doing? JMO caught 66.6% of his targets. Fun fact, Kelvin Johnson never caught more than 61%. Nice catch there. For a season, only caught 60, -1 times. People just want to have something to complain about. Could be a lot of truth to that, man. Everybody wants perfection out of the players, and that's not realistic because, like you're pointing out, One Funky, this is more or less Jameson Williams' rookie season. Yeah, he got some stuff at the end of the year last year, but because of the recovery, it really slowed down his growth and development. So this is more or less, in my opinion, going to be his rookie season. All right, Don Funky. All right, you guys got that going. All right. Nobody's mentioned Hutch's one-handed pick and the helmet to the leg tackle. Hope he's okay. Still gave his stank leg. Yeah, Sally. Yeah, Michael, you're 100% right. That's a heck of a catch for anybody, not just a defensive end. He showed some real ability there. He did take a pretty good shot, but the way he played the rest of the game, my guess is he's gonna feel that thing for a few days. But it would be my guess it's a deep thigh bruise. They're probably gonna have him on the massage table a whole lot this week, getting that thing handled. We'll see what happens though. All right, Don. Good morning, Funky. All right, Bergs. JMO will be fine. Plus, he blocked well yesterday. We don't need to rush him. Let him get comfortable. I agree. Coach, we're in the running for Randy Gregory before he went to San Francisco. I think they're more after interior linemen than they are outside, just because, well, I like Randy Gregory, but I don't think he's a whole lot different than a lot of the guys we bring off the edge as far as the Okwara brothers, Harris, Houston when he gets back. We've got a lot of guys that seem similar there. And, I know you've picked up quite a bit, Pierce, about Campbell rushing from the edges. He did so yesterday, and they did delayed blitz him a lot from the middle, him and Anzalone. By the way, something I wasn't aware until last night. I didn't realize how emotionally probably distraught Anzalone was yesterday. Apparently, his parents are trapped in Israel right now, trying to find a way out of there. And I think we all know what's going on over there. So imagine having to play, not knowing if your parents are even alive or safe in a foreign country. They're trying to get out of there. I guess they're on some sort of church missionary trip. And thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. That's gotta be tough to play, especially at a high level when you've got a distraction like that, not knowing if your family's okay or even alive. All right. Answer 14. Good morning, Dan. Great day to be a Lions fan. Tough, gritty teams put it together. Yeah, they did. Answer 14. They everybody next person up mentality, and they did great. Jim, good to have you out here. All right, Don. Just need more consistent push up the interior, the defense. They stopped the run penetration, not so much. Yeah, we stopped the run, but I was a little surprised how well Carolina did at keeping our rushers at bay. That's a credit to them. They're professional athletes. They have strengths and weaknesses, and you're not going to obviously get 4 to 7 sacks every week, even though we should. But give Carolina some credit. They did a lot of the same stuff that Seattle did against us. We talked about that all last week. We thought that they'd play a lot of 12 and 13 personnel, multiple tight ends, a lot of people chipping, and they did that. But we still got a lot of good shots, just not a lot of good sacks. Bergs, overall Lions fan, should be very happy. We are 4-1 and still haven't had a complete game on offense. I think we're getting close. I was happy with the third quarter yesterday, which you guys all know that's kind of our lull is the third quarter. But we had a field goal opportunity. The sack obviously took us out of range. And then really that drive that ended with a touchdown at the start of the fourth quarter, and that all happens in the third quarter. So it was better. It's just, I think we all would like to see it get even better. Never heard about how many injuries the Lions had yesterday. Does anyone know? Manuel Mosley, J-Mommy, they're going to do the MRI today, figure out what's going on with that leg. Doesn't look good. And then, like I said, Jonah Jackson left Ford Field in a walking boot, but nobody knows what's going on with that yet. It's not released. It could be precautionary. Could be, he has a high ankle sprain. We'll find out. All right. Didn't know David Montgomery had breakaway speed like that, 40-yard house call. Yeah, he got out there and he got running and he outran everybody. So he could be a real steal and something that the Bears are probably regretting not re-signing. But yeah, that's part of the business. The Bears are gonna get some right, they're gonna get some wrong. But give Brad Holmes credit because, again, he found value where other people missed. So that's part of his job. As you probably all know, all eyes are now turning to Tampa Bay. The Bucks, they got the bye week. They're going to be healthier. They're going to be better prepared for us, all those things. But nothing's going to be for certain in the NFL. Nothing's going to be given to you. So I'm going to say this. We win this game, I do think we've got a better than average chance to go down and beat the Ravens. And then, obviously, Las Vegas comes here on Monday night. You go with those next 3 games, you even get 2 wins out of those 3. I think we're in pretty good shape for the home stretch. What do you guys think, though? I'm thinking if we go 2-1 out of those 3, you're going to have to see Brad Holmes pull the trigger on a few things. I'm starting to lean more and more. Maybe you guys are right that Stephen Gilmore needs the shot. Maybe he needs to be elevated. But they're going to need, I think, a little bit more secondary help, at least at the cornerback spot. CJ is going to come back more than likely at some point, but that's not going to be till probably the middle of December. Houston will be back on defense, in about probably 4 weeks, maybe a little bit less. But I do think they're going to have to make some additions to the defense and maybe even one more wide receiver or offensive lineman. Whatever it is, though, it's going to be a fun ride watching these next couple weeks, watching the season, watching everything set up. Yes, every week, probably like most fans, you're paying attention now a little bit more and more, and the further we go into the season, to what the other teams in the NFC are doing. How does this affect our standings? Who's our rooting for guide? We need the 49ers to lose. We need Philly to lose. We need Seahawks to lose. I mean, I think you guys get it. And it's part of the fun outside of the Lions games that really Lions fans haven't had in a long time. All right, Don, what do you got? We are definitely on the phone with Denver. It's a mess out there. And Sean Payton, is Dan Campbell's mentor, could help in a trade. Yeah, there's a whole lot of truth to that. Sort of to your point, think about when Brad Holmes first comes here. Who does he deal with the most? The Rams, because he has a built-up relationship. And you guys have heard us talk about it on Lions Talk Live, that Brad Holmes is making a lot of phone calls, to try to find out if he can get somebody on the cheap. We all get that. But the other part is to establish relationships with those front offices. So when he has to pull the trigger to get somebody or wants to pull the trigger, he's not cold calling somebody. He already knows that person. He's cracked some jokes, asked about, their weekends, all that stuff, gotten the pleasantries out of the way. They'll be in a better position to get something without having to overpay. I do think we're going to be buyers. We'll see, though. All right, Gary, what do you got? We got a few more before the Mountain Dew's calling to me. Good morning, two-man Dan. I can't wait for the Buck. Bring it, yeah. And I think we're going to go down there. I want to see how we do up against Baker Mayfield. This would be a real nice game, a barometer for the Lions. They're 3-1, top of their division. They've got something to play for. We're going to be on the road. And I'll even throw this question to you guys. Do we play better on the road? We're a tough team, I would think, for most home teams to face because of, again, how we're constructed at both lines of scrimmages. It's going to be a fun one next Sunday and then throughout the rest of the season. JP, all right, I'll take about one or two more of these, and we're getting about 30 minutes. All right, it's so exciting to have a NFL team that is in the mix. The Lions are for real and can hang with anybody, even the 49ers. The 49ers and the Lions, that would be a heck of a matchup and a real test for where we're at with things. They're not that dissimilar than us, other than they probably have a few more experienced players. Brock Purdy, kid's playing well. And again, it doesn't matter where you get players. I get they traded 3 first-rounders to get somebody who's not even on the team anymore. But do you really care if you're a front office member of the 49ers or a fan? You got the quarterback you wanted. You just got it in a way you didn't expect. All right, Pierce, to that road point. Remember when our fans took over Lambeau? Yeah, that was insane. And yeah, forced the Packers to put out a memo not to sell your season tickets to non-Packer fans. Answer 14, pressure on Mayfield will be key. Yeah, you're going to have to get after him because he is mobile. He's actually got a chip on his shoulder. Right? Give the guy credit. The Browns, for whatever reason, got rid of him. You'd have to ask them why. Got rid of him after some of the great things he's done for them. And it's just kind of the business. But he's got a chip on his shoulder, took an incredibly low contract for a player of his stature and as far as his years in the league. But, hey, he wanted to prove that he's worth something, that his better days are still ahead of him. Give him some credit. All right, Gary, thank you, Chiefs, for yesterday. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, help keep everybody else in the division that much further behind. Anthony, what team next year is Mayfield going to play for? Shake my head. I got to imagine, Anthony, if he keeps playing like this, you're the Bucs, you're probably going to re-sign him. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but you got to have a quarterback, and he's not playing too bad, but who knows? Mayfield may just say who's the top bidder. We'll see, to your point. Don Burr, everybody root for Raiders versus Green Bay tonight. Yeah, I'll be calling that in case you guys are bored, want to make a trip to Main Street Pub in Kalamazoo. I will be the host tonight for Monday Night Football Bingo. If you don't know what that is, everybody gets a bingo card basically for each of the first 2 quarters. We only play until halftime. And then if you get bingo based on the play calls that I put out for the game, run less than 5 yards, pass more than 10, whatever it may be, there's some free prizes you can get. So place usually gets pretty packed for it. And I'm guessing when the Lions play there, it'll be real packed. But all right, I'm going to wrap this up. We're going on a little over a half hour. Hope you all had a great show today. Enjoy your mornings. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please do so. We're going to try to push to 3,600 by kickoff on next Sunday. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live. See you, everybody.